Hi friends, it's Becky, and this is my design using the Adornable Elements Seed Beads, Beads of the Month Club for January 2025. We got a lot of really rich, like kind of pinky browns and gorgeous, like rose-colored beads with a few neutrals and some teal beads as well that I did not include in this. But because this color is so much like the color of the year, I wanted to go ahead and use it to do a Mocha Mousse Swirl bracelet using my Jewel Loom. Now this is designed by Juliana Avalar and distributed by Beading. I'll put a link in the description to a couple of different places that you can find it on Amazon as well as on Jewel's own shop. If you wanted to see if you get it, comes in this little zipper baggie so you can keep it there. But I got this and I have not made anything with it, so I thought I would use this as my sort of design to be able to do. So we'll get this all warped up, but before we do that, I need to figure out how many beads, how many rows I want before I can start warping it. And I want to design my my little project. So I'm going to put this little tool to the side, and I'm going to be using 3 different colors of beads, and I was pretty sure that I was going to use this nice warm brown, this beautiful little taupe color, and my Mocha Mousse color. But I got to thinking maybe I want to use this one and this brown iris. I don't know. It could probably work with either of these, but I want a dark color and then a light color as contrast, and then this is the main color for what I'm going to be working with. So I'm probably going to go ahead and go with those 3. And for my findings for my ends, and this is what's going to inform how many beads across I am going to do, how many beads on each row. I'm using these Allegory Gallery findings, and they've got, come on friend, why are you not auto-focusing? Why do all of my cameras have trouble auto-focusing lately? There we go. So it's got these holes along the side. There's a little channel on the inside so that you can use this to stitch in your findings onto it. It's from Allegory Gallery. It is handmade pewter, and this is the antique copper color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab one of the needles that I'm going to be using, which is going to be one of these large eye needles. I'm going to be using this for my weaving. So I'm just going to grab this guy, and I'm going to pick up some of these beads, and I'm going to see how many beads across will fit along the length of this, and that will tell me how many rows to do when I'm designing my piece. And I'm going to be using my tablet here and some software to actually design the chart that I'll be following for weaving. So if you want to skip past the design part and just get right to like warping my loom and weaving with my beads, I need a few more. That's going to be not quite enough, just a couple more. Let's see. If you want to skip to that, I will put a link in the description, a little timestamp link, so you can just skip past it. I think this is going to be about the right amount. So let me see how many beads this is. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like to count things 5 at a time. So it's 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I want it to be 18 beads wide for my weaving. I'm going to take that off, move these out of the way. So now that I know how many I'll be doing. So 18 beads across, which means I'll need to warp 19 strands, because when you string your warps on, you want one more strand than the beads will be. But now I'm going to open up my tablet. Hold on. I'm putting in my password off screen so you guys don't see it. I found this software. It's called Rosario Beads, and I've only been able to find it for Android devices, and that's what this tablet is. It's an Android device. But if you click over here on the bottom to add, it's got these already made ones that you can use, you know, and you can change the colors if you want to. You can edit it, and they're different styles and all of those fun things. They've got some that are already preloaded. You can also import from an image, and that's just taking its time to do that, but I'm going to go back into it. It's a pretty bare bones sort of design feature, but if you go under blueprints, you've got some different ones where you can do regular brick stitch, 2-drop, 3-drop. You've got peyote stitch, 2-drop, 3-drop. You've got netting stitch, and then you've got square stitch. And square stitch is what I'm going to be using for this, because square stitch also will work for a loomed design, because they're all like in a row. So I'm going to click on that, and we decided that we were going to do, what was it, 18 beads on that. So it's got this little thing that switches between viewing and editing. So right now it's in viewing mode, so I can't make any changes to it. If I click the edit button there, now I can edit this. I can change, add numbers to all of these if I need to. I can rotate the chart. I can make it bigger or smaller, however I want to do. And then down here at the bottom, this will let me add more of the rows or columns as I need to. So let me do to the right. I'm going to add 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 of these, like that. And I think that's going to be enough rows, because I just want to do something that I can do multiple repeats along here. I don't want to chart out the entire bracelet, just these parts of it. So I've got my canvas selected. What's that? Okay, that's fine. So I've got my canvas selected, and there's also this undo button down here if you need to. I could add rows on the bottom if I wanted, but I'm just going to go with it like this. And I'm going to choose my palette over here on the side. So let's change this one, change palette. Let's see what colors I've got. I have the tan colors. So this is going to be more yellow. This is more green. Somewhere in here, I'm going to find a nice light tan color like that. I'm going to select that color. So that's one of my colors. That's tan. Now, there are some other softwares that will do something, or actually probably a better job of this than this is. It isn't available for iOS. There's one that is very useful that is only available to be installed on a PC, and that is Bead Tool 4. But you can do more with that, and it actually has a customizable, you can select like the bead colors, like exact colors in your thing when you do that with the bead tool. But I don't have that in this. It's a bare bones like free app, so I get to change my colors themselves. So let's scooch along here and get a more dark brown. Let's select that color. So I've got my tan, I've got my dark brown, and then this one, let's select, well, that's red, red. I want a pinky brown that's kind of a mid brown. More redder, pinky. Okay, so about there. Nope. That looks good. That's about the right shade. Select color. Okay, so you can see there I've got my tan color, I've got my dark brown, and I've got my Mocha Mousse color. And so what you do with this, and you can make it bigger so that you can touch the touch screen easier. So you select the color that you want to put in here, and let's just say I want to have a swirl that kind of starts in the middle. Then you just fill it in. With that color. Then you can, erase a color if you want to. Just go back to that white. I'm keeping the white in the palette so that I can go back to that. And I still don't know if I want this to be that thick of a line of this color, or if I want it to be much thinner of a line. Oop. Cancel. Let me get my bold dark color in here. I'm gonna switch. There we go, switch to this. And so for this one, it was going to be more of a, I'm just making this up as I go, by the way. Do I need some more lines for a good repeat? I think I need some more lines down below for a good repeat. So I'm going to hit bottom, add a few of these. Yeah, and then go back to this, where I've got these. Yeah. So I want this repeat up here to follow here on that. I think I actually need to scooch this over one more for it to follow over correctly. So I'm going to fill in the rest of these spots with this other color. Clean up lines if I need to. Let's just do that corner there because that will flow into the rest of this. So we'll probably take a couple of repeats of this little pattern. Well, let me do a little bit more of a curve there. Maybe like that. I think I need to get this curve less curvy. Maybe. Okay. This is my first time doing a chart like this. So we'll see. We'll see how it works out. All right. One more of these dark ones over there so that it blends in with that. All right. Now, if I want to save this as a PDF, I have to take a screenshot first, and I can, nope, that's not how you do it. Can I move that out of the way? Nope, that's fine. But it'll take a screenshot of this whole thing if I hit this little screenshot button to save it. And then I can put it into like a Word doc and save as a PDF. So I'm going to go ahead and Mocha Mousse Swirl. I'm going to save that, and I will create a PDF document that I will put just in an area of the oh hey, actually that's probably better. But I'm going to create a PDF document so that I can have this available for y'all if you want to try this. I think it will be actually quite fun. So I'm going to start warping my loom. And for my warp and my weft thread, a warp are the lengthwise threads when you are doing weaving, and weft is the crosswise threads, the ones that you weave through. I'm just going to go ahead and use some good old fireline. I have some 8-pound fireline here. That should be enough for all of that. So let's get this curved up. The way the Jewel Loom works is like you curve it up to warp it, and then you take this out, this support, and it tightens up your threads so that it's easier to weave with. So I want to bend this, get my support bar in place. There we go. So the support bar is in place, and then you've got these knobs on the other side, and that's what you're going to wrap or tie your wefts or your warps around. So let me get one end tied on here, and I can just cut the knot when I get to it. After it's been tied on. I'm going to start with that, and I'm going to want 19 warps again. So let me just count like about from the middle. I just lost my little dish. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. So I'm going to take my warp through here first, straight across to the other side, and down around this knob. And I'm just going to go from that one to the next space right there. Come on. Yep, the next space over. So for like 11 O's, that's going to be like a good spacing for that. I think for larger beads, you'd want to adjust your spacing. Maybe skip 2 of them. I'm going to go around this and just through the next column and just keep going all the way around. I'm going from one side to the other so that I don't have to tie all of my warp threads. I can pull them through at the end. Because I watched Danielle Wicks do it once, actually, and I thought it was absolute genius. And that's not, there we go. Do I have these spread out right? Why is that all the way over there? Hold on, hold on. One of these was crossing over the other. Okay, no, those are straight. Okay. Yep, all right. I'm going to go ahead and take one end of a generous wingspan's worth of thread, and I'm starting with the wingspan because it's something that I'm able to work with, and I will probably be adding more thread as I go because that's just something you do. And I'm going to open up my big eye needle, put that on there, and then grab the end of my thread here. I'm going to tie it onto the this end over here, just to secure it onto one of the threads. It's a little double knot. Okay, now I'm going to load my beads on from left to right. So I'm going to follow my chart from left to right, which means I'm going to need to pick up 4 of my Mocha Mousse colors. I know there's a different name for this bead, but that's what I'm calling it. So 4 Mocha Mousse seed beads, come on. 4 of these guys. 2 of my dark browns. 1, 2. 4 more of my Mocha Mousses. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 of my brown ones. 1, 2, 3. 2 more Mocha Mousse. And then 3 of my light cream latte colors, like that. We're going to slide these down. I should have gone underneath first. There we go. So I've got the thread going under my loom. And I'm going to hold them in my hand and sort of try to press them up so that the beads go between my warps, like this. Scooch in just a little bit so you can see. This is awkward on camera. Okay. I'm going to use my needle to help me with this. So the thread and the beads are coming underneath here. So I'm going to make sure that my needle is going through my beads over the top of my warp threads. And I'm just using my needle to kind of pick them up and bring them through like this. Hold on, friend. Let's get you over here with your other buddies. They're like 1 thread away from where they should be. I think maybe this first row might be the most troublesome. Let's scooch you closer to there. The thread is pretty loose. And I need to press them through. Okay. All right, first row done. Do not catch on things. And I'm going to pass this under here so that when I come back around with my beads will already be underneath my warp threads, and I'm ready for my second row. Hooray, my second row. So second row is going to be 5 of my Mocha Mousse beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 of my dark browns. 1, 2. 4 Mocha Mousses. 1, 2, wait, no, 2 of those. I need to be reading the correct row. I want this second row here. 2 more of the dark browns after those 2. And then 1, 2, 3. You know, I might want to get more. No, this is fine. So 1, 2, 3 of those. So 1, 2, 1, 2. I've only got 2 of those on. Let's get that third one. 1, 2, 3. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 of my latte beads. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. So I've got these. Let's go and scooch these beads all the way down to the end, right here. Oh, this has got to get easier. It gets easier, right, guys? All right, let's get that last bead where it's supposed to be. There we go. So let's try going through all of these beads. Make sure we get through all of them. I don't want to skip any. But I also want to make sure that I'm going through above my warps and not below them. This is probably one of the most involved design on the flies I've done yet. You can start to see it's taking shape with that design. I'm going to do a couple more rows with you, and I'm going to finish up my chart. And I'll come back after my first repeat of the chart is done so you can see how it shapes up on the loom, and then I'll do the further repeats that I want to do to get it to the length that I want. I'm going to do about 7 inches of looming because I have a 7.5 inch wrist, and that 1/2 inch can be taken up with my findings and maybe a toggle clasp for that. So let me get my third row red on here. So my third row, I got 6 of my Mocha Mousse beads. Where's my... And yeah, I'm calling them Mocha Mousse beads. The actual name of the beads was Duracoat Galvanized Matte Dark Berry at 4212F. That's the actual name of that. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here we are on our third row. One, 2, 3. So then I need 2 of the dark brown, 2 of my mochas, 2 of the dark brown. So 2 dark brown, 2 mocha, 2 dark brown, and then 3, hold on. No, I was reading the second line. Never mind, I had 6. I need 4 of those. I was covering up the wrong line. There we go. That's the line I want right there. So after my 6, I want 4 of the dark brown, 2 of my mochas, and then 6 of my latte color. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 of those. 2 of the Mocha Mousse. You know what? I'm going to call my dark brown ones, I'm going to call those espresso roast. In my mind, because I've got latte, I've got Mocha Mousse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the latte. All right. Here we go. So I've got these picked up on my needle. Let's scooch them under here. Let's do some looming. Okay, just like that. That is better. So I feel like this is going to get easier as I go. The first little bit was a little hard. Probably because it's such a new thing for me. If you are used to doing this, you probably have been screaming at me, trying to tell me all your tips and tricks on how to do it better, on how to make sure it works, because you are old pros at this. This is a new thing for me, so you know what? I am not afraid to try new things. So there's a little bit of a curve there. You can see it's shaping up. All right, now my next row, I'm just going to do my next row with you because I'm really loving seeing my little design take shape in front of me after I made it in my design studio here. Okay, so this one is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of these. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2. Okay, so 11, 5, and 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. Well, I'm going to scooch them on here just a little bit. I just ran my needle through, and now I'm going to count them so that I can see if I've got 11. 5, 10, 11. All right, I had 3 too many. And then 5 of my latte color, 4, 5, like that. And then how many? 2 of the Mocha Mousse, and none of my espresso roast color. Sorry, I'm on a coffee theme right now. So let's get all of these lined up. There we go. Yeah, with those beginning beads too, it really does help the warps kind of hang out where they're supposed to be too. Why are you not being with your friends? There we go. So let's go up through the top. I like that. I like it a lot. And then we're going to get our latte swirl starting to curve around in the middle of our Mocha Mousse. So let me get out my next little strand. That is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 3 of these, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 9, 3, and 6. Right, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One more. 9, and then 3. And then 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so you guys don't have to watch me do this entire chart. I will go and work on this. Actually, do you want... I'll pop in for a minute once I've done at least one repeat of the chart so that you can see the whole chart. And then we'll come back after I've done multiple repeats and I've gotten it to the length that I want. Okay, that is what we will do. Loop, loop, loop. There we go. So I will be back when I've got it to that point. See you guys in a little bit. All right, so here we have one complete repeat of my chart. You see how we've got our little swirls swirling around. I did actually clean up this chart a little bit. Hold on, let me get my tablet back on. So it looks a little bit more like that. I rounded out some of my edges and corners, and I saved it as a PDF and then loaded that PDF into Knit Companion. It's one of the utilities that I use on my tablet when I'm reading knitting charts. It's got these sliding bars, so I can slide this bar right underneath the row that I'm about to do, and then once it's finished, slide it up and do the next row. It's really useful, and it loads any PDF. It doesn't have to be a knitting chart. There's no like algorithm or something within it that says this isn't knitting, we're not going to do it. Any PDF, it'll load it and you can just run it. It's free. You can pay for premium, but just the basic is just fine. You just slide that bar, it covers up the row that you just did, and then you go to the next row and then the next row, and it's even got a little bar that you can scroll across the other way as well. So I'll put all of that information in the description below, as well as this PDF. I'll put a link to this PDF as well. And the PDF, I just put some basic instruction of like how many warps you need, and then how many times you need for the length to repeat this, because the chart, this bottom part of the chart flows into the top part of this chart, like they flow together. You can stop at any point in the thing, wherever you get to the point that you want to stop. Speaking of which, I'm going to measure, since this is one repeat of this pattern, I'm going to go ahead and measure it and see how long this is, because I went, again, 7 inches. And this is exactly, well, just a little less than 2 inches. So I'm probably going to be doing 3.5 repeats of this, because I want 7 inches. So I'll probably end it about there, which will be fine, I'm sure. But I'm just going to, while I've got this running, jump down. I just finished this top row of this chart, so I'm going to jump down here to this bottom row so you can see how the top row flows into the next one. Let's go across here. this bottom row where I've got 4 of my Mocha Mousse beads, 1, 2, 3, 2 of my espresso roast, 1, 2, 3, 4, oh sorry, 4 of the Mocha Mousse, and then espresso roast, 4 of the Mocha Mousse again, 2 more espressos, 3 Mocha Mousse, 1, 2, 3, and then 3 of my latte color beads. All right, so I have all of those on my needle. So yeah, 3.5 repeats should probably be enough. Let's get all of these up against there. Just making sure that the warps pop down between each of those beads. And see, it lines right up for the beginning of the chart again. And I'll just keep going like this, and we'll do another swirl and another swirl, and then a half of a swirl, and then I'll be ready to finish this off. So I'm going to go and finish weaving until I get about 7 inches of beads on here, and I will come back and we will finish this up together. Oh, that one, it looks like it was not around, it didn't go around this one, so it just went through it. That's what happens when the thread, the needle isn't going over the warp thread, it goes under it. It drops the bead. So I'm going to need to go back through. This is how you fix that. Make sure I am going back through, but going just through the top of this. So I'm going to pull that down out of the way. Keep these pressed up there. See, it's coming out above that warp thread. So I'm going to slip this needle underneath that warp thread so it's on the underside. But, you know, try not to get it caught. There we go. So now that it's under, that's where I started. Pick up that bead again, the one that came off, and make sure when I put this back through here, make sure that the warp thread is under the needle, so I'm going over it. There we go. That fixed it. All right, sometimes it's useful to see when mistakes happen and how to fix it. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to finish up and do 3.5 more swirls, and I will see you back here at the end of that. But you can see already we are Mocha Mousse. All right, we are back. I have finished doing my looming. I went to get it off of my loom, and unfortunately I forgot my strength and I snapped my Jewel Loom in half. I was not expecting that, but that's okay. I also tried to do that little trick where you pull on one of the threads and it just comes through with the warps. It didn't work, so I am just cutting my warp threads here. I already did one side, so we only have to worry about doing this side together. And the other side works just fine. Where are we at? There we go. go. All right, so now that these are all cut and loose, I'm just going to tie my warp threads together. And I'm going to start here on the end with these 2 warp threads. But yeah, I did finish my looming until it was measured exactly 7 inches, well, just a little over 7 inches. So I'm just doing a square knot with those 2 pieces of thread coming out of that. And I'm going to take one of these that I just tied that knot with, and this second thread, and I'm going to tie these into a knot together. And then this one that I just tied together, I'm going to do that with the next thread, and I'm just going to keep tying these knots all along the edge of this. There might be better ways of doing this, but this is what I figured out without looking things up as a way to manage my warp threads. Once they're tied, I'm going to use my thread burner and burn off my excess bits of thread. And then I've got a new piece of thread that I will be putting onto a beading needle in order to attach it to my finding. Don't get all uptight. See, we're going to end up with a little line of knots along that edge. Now, if you use one of those tube ends or tube connector ends that are very common, you don't have to worry about the little edge showing. But I'm going to be using a finding that doesn't cover that. So I'm going to want to make sure that I've got it on the right side when I'm doing it so that it's not showing while it's being worn. But yeah. I think I'm gonna need to get a new Jewel Loom because I don't know why it snapped. Is it because it's cold? Would cold affect the plastic? Maybe that's what it was. It was just too cold, so I'll need to make sure I warm it up the next time I use one. Or it could be that I just don't know my strength. Becky Smash. I am off screen. Sorry about that. Scoot you back in there. Yay. This was a lot of fun to loom, though. It was a lot of fun to design. I'm really happy with that. One of the nice things about it being a pattern that doesn't really have a beginning or end is that I could just keep going until it was the length that I wanted. So you could stop earlier, you could stop later. in the pattern, and really just size it for the size that you want for this. I did export it as a PDF, and I set it with a link in Google Docs, so you can click on the link in the description below and it will take you to the Google Doc and you can download it from there. Again, it's just a PDF file. You can print it out, or you could, like I did, import it into a PDF reader. I really like Knit Companion for reading charts on things because, again, you've got that slider. And Knit Companion is available on iOS as well as Android. It makes it really easy to read charted things and have it readily available. All right. So now I've got this fringe with these knots in there right against the edge. Where's my it's like I'm cutting hair. There we go. So see, I've already done this end, and you can't see those burned ends on that side, but if you turn it over, you can. So we're just going to make sure that those burnt ends show up on the other side for this one when we get it stitched in. Now let me grab another length of beading thread, and I am switching to a English style beading needle for this part because I am going to need to be going between some of these beads and in and out of them, and it's more maneuverable for that than the wide-eye beading needle is. The wide-eye beading needle is very flexible, not as maneuverable between the beads where you need to put some pressure or some force in it. So you don't need a large amount of thread for this part. So I'm just getting about an arm's length. Let's get that threaded on to this beading needle. Get this in here. All right. And now I'm going to, again, this is how I added thread. I'm just going to go in a little ways away from where I want to be coming out. And where I'm coming out of between these two beads here, I'm going to go right up to the next row, go through about 2, maybe 3 beads that way. Hold on to my end so it doesn't pull out when I pull this through. And then go up here to this one, go 3 or 4. And this is going to make a bit of a circle in here. And that's one of the things that really helps anchor it when you're changing directions and going through your beading. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, I'm going to zigzag my way up. I want to be coming out of this side of my second row down. So I'm going to zigzag up here like this. I just do this by going up one row at the same spot in that next row as I'm coming out of. All right, so I'm coming out of my second row here, second row from the edge. You can see that's in there pretty good. It's not going to come out, so I can burn this off and get it out of the way. There we go. Now I have 18 beads along the top here, and I have 8 holes on here, and each of these holes is spaced out far enough that the line between 2 of each of these beads, like this line, this line, this line, they will all match up with the holes on this stitch-in end. And again, these are from Allegory Gallery, and I'm going to turn this around so it's this way, so it matches, so it's on the same side as this one. So I'm going to go through up here. I'm going to go into this bead here on the end, and I'm going to go through the first 4 beads, because I'm going to be coming out of like this space in between each second bead, but I want to start further in so that I can go back. So I'm going in 4 beads in, and then I'm going to sew into the second hole on my finding, second hole from the end, right there, like that, and then go through the first hole right here, and I'm holding it away so that you can see where the thread is going. So I went into the first hole, out of the second hole, so I went through these first 4, second hole, out through the first hole, and now I'm going to go between these first 2 beads and those 4, and so through those 2 beads and then the 2 after it. So I'm going to advance by 4 each time I go around. I'm going to tighten this up, get that up against there. There we go. And now I'm going to go, now that I've gone through the 6th bead from that end, go through the 3rd hole here. I'm just going to continue like this, making kind of a big circle, go back through that 2nd hole. That's the first hole that I went into. If I can find it. There we go. And then between these 2 beads and those 2 beads, just right there in between them. And then I'm going to go through another 4 beads to come out here. I'm just going to continue like this along the edge, and I'm going to move this out of the way so I stop catching my thread on it. So I'm coming out of that one, and there will be a matching hole right here in my finding. And these are from Allegory Gallery. I will put a link in the description below to their pewter stitch-in findings. One, two, three, 4. Oops, that's too many. Yeah, once I've got the stitch-in finding done, we'll add a clasp. We'll call it good. Five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that'll be this one right here. I just wanted an excuse to use my Jewel Loom and these findings. But I really am sort of in love with the way that these swirls have turned out. They are really nice. Now this swirl, you can see it's not quite as nice as the other two, because this was the one, like you can see right there, there's a little bit of a mistake on that. This was the first one that I did with y'all, and then I cleaned up my chart. So if you follow my chart, your swirls will look more like these. But hey, for a impromptu design without spending weeks on it, I don't think it's that bad, honestly. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. That one. Yep. I'll have 2 more after that. And I did have to, you know, work between designing it and finishing it. So it might have been something that you could finish in a day or less. A few hours, okay, and this is the last hole. All right, let's go back to that next one there. And let's weave this end in. Come out of this end here. Weave this end in, go through here, zigzag away. Circle through. Good, good, good. I was just doing a little tug test there. And that is good. I was gonna do a what is it called? Oh no, I've got one right here, don't I? Let's see. That'll work. Get the clasp installed. Where's my chain nose pliers? There they are. All right, chain nose pliers for jump rings, opening and closing. You want to swing it open. hook together the things that you want to be hooked together. I want that to face out so the pretty side is on the outside. Close it up like that. And then see their little flowers. Where did I get that? That was from Bead Box Bargains. And I like to do 2 jump rings when I do the toggle part of a toggle clasp, because that gives that toggle part a little more maneuverability and gives it a little bit of distance away from this other bar part so that it doesn't get in the way when you're trying to get it through the other part, the ring. That's part of that. All right, friends, moment of truth. Let's get this buddy on here. I might need to do a different clasp. It is entirely possible that this will need another clasp. This is my toggle. Or it just could be the regular occurrence of me struggling with toggle clasps, which is a normal thing to see on this channel. It's a little bit loose, so maybe I can switch this for a smaller clasp, like a lobster clasp. I think a lobster clasp would actually work out pretty well for getting it a little bit smaller and fitting more like a cuff. It's pretty loose the way it is, but I am really liking it. There we go. So here's my Mocha Mousse Swirl pattern that I designed with you right on my channel. And again, I will put a PDF in the description below. Also put some links to Adornable Elements. That is where I got this. It was in my Winter Berries Seed Beads of the Month Club, and the colors that I used for this was the Duracoat Galvanized Matte Dark Berry. I used a good portion of them. This was full when I got it, and I've used about 2/3 of it. The other color that I used was the this dyed opaque latte. That was my light swirl. And then we have the semi-frosted transparent dark topaz. That's my dark swirl. So those are the colors that I used. And if they have any of those extra, if you don't want the whole seed beads of the month, which, you know, why wouldn't you? Because it's a whole bunch of really cool beads in there. But if you didn't want the whole seed beads of the month, you could ask if they have any available of those 3 colors, and you could make this with those. Or if you have your own hookup for seed beads, or if you wanted to try it with some different colors. I don't know, I like the conjoined swirls. It makes me feel a little bit like Greek keys do, which is one of my favorite motifs. And maybe that influenced the design a little bit. It is given a little bit Greek key, but it's, you know, more stylized. Anyway, I am going to go and get all this uploaded, get it edited, and get it ready for you to be able to see and make with me if you want. And I'm also going to see if I can get myself another one of these, because I really enjoyed looming on it. But that was a big surprise, friends. I don't know, did you ever have your Jewel Loom snap on you? Let me know in the comments if that's ever happened, because it might just be one of those really weird one-off things that just never happens. Anyway, It was at the end. It was when I was trying to get it off. But I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and I'll talk with you later. Happy beading.